Hello everyone, it's Helen. Thanks for joining me. So God has given me no shortage of things to talk about on my channel, especially as of late. There's been so much going on in my world, but we are going to consider this a blessing because that way I'm able to continue to make videos for all of you. Tonight we're going to talk about breasts again, but it's going to be on a little bit of a different topic because the question is going to be, is this a breast cyst or is this something more? All right, well, we got to go back to 8 months ago when I was getting my breast exam and my doctor came across what appeared to be a couple of lumps. His first question was, Helen, did you know you have these lumps? The second question was, Helen, have you had your yearly mammogram? That was the question that I dreaded for 5 years straight because you're supposed to get it at the age of 40. Here I am, 45. And so every single year that I would go in, he would ask me that same question and I would give him that deer in the headlight look like, nope, haven't done it yet. And here I am now at 45. He's asking me that same question and now I have a couple of lumps. And so I give him the same look, but then that inner man is going like, I'm thinking that. And so I'm like, okay, this is the year. I'm going to schedule it as soon as I leave here. And he's like, you need to. We need a baseline. And now we have lumps. I'm like, done, and done. Okay, well, there is a good reason why up until that point, I felt like that I should not get a mammogram because at the age of 40, I had had breast implants for 13 years under the muscles and they were making me extremely sick. So I decided to take them out at 40. Well, here I am with these breasts that now they've taken them out. I am completely flat. And not only am I flat, but the breasts are concaved where the breast implants are now sunken in because of one, my size, and two, the size that the implants were. And so it was going to take some time for my body to heal. Some women choose to get them replaced. Some decide to get a lift. Some just choose to get them out like I did. The healing time is different for everyone. Well, for me, it took a long time. My body had to heal and it had to restructure itself. So obviously you have scar tissue in there. You needed to get new healthy tissue. There was going to have to be new fat that was going to come in there. You have the liquids, the fluids. There was a lot going on in this area for a long period of time for me. In fact, years. There was a series of years where I couldn't even really have people give me like those hugs, bear hugs or squeezes. I couldn't really like grab an animal and put it up here or touch anything. And so I was extremely sensitive. I was very protective over this area and it was sore. So I figured the worst thing in the world that I could possibly do at the time would be to go and have something squeeze really, really, really hard on something that was working really, really hard on healing and just barely coming back in. You got to keep in mind here, guys, I am just an A and it's barely coming back. 5 years. And over the last probably year and a half, I haven't had quite as much pain. So I was feeling like, wow, I'm finally starting to heal. So definitely knew I needed a mammogram, but I was just waiting as long as I possibly could. I called to schedule my mammogram. I decided, okay, I'm going to do it. It took place in a hospital. I ended up with the world's greatest tech. She was sweet. She was kind. She listened to my concerns. We talked about my implant removal. She was gentle. She was everything that you would want her to be. It was 1,000 times better than I ever had dreamed it would be. And so here I was kind of worrying for nothing, even though I felt like had I done it a few years earlier, it might have been a different story, but she was fantastic. She did find the lumps that the doctor was talking about. And she said, well, now that we found the lumps, you're going to need to get an ultrasound. So that's really common. So if your doctor finds some lumps, you're more than likely going to have to get an ultrasound either that day or you'll have to probably schedule one. They were able to get me in that day. The radiologist who did that was absolutely amazing. She talked me through it. I got to watch it on a big screen. In fact, she talked my ear off, made me feel so comfortable. And then when we were done, she said, okay, we got to send these off. We got to send these to Colorado. After we talk to the doctor down there, I'll come back and we'll discuss it with you. She came back in a short period of time, let me know that yes, there were 3 lumps. However, they were all cysts and they were all benign, or at least appeared to be benign. My heart was so happy. I was ecstatic. I was like, yes, I knew I was going to get to leave and I wasn't going to have to come back for a whole entire year. Okay, well, here we are today, 8 months later, and about a month and a half ago, I started to develop some pain in my chest, in my breast. And I couldn't even remember for the life of me. I was just like, okay, is this the side that the cyst was on? Or is this the side that the benign cyst was on? I couldn't even recall. I just knew that I was having some pain and the lump was getting pretty large on this side. So I went back and forth with whether or not to even contact the doctor or just wait until my annual exam in October. But I decided you better be safe than sorry, contact the doctor, make an appointment and go in. So I go see the doctor and I said, okay, I'm dealing with some pain on my, on my breast. And the doctor said, okay, show me exactly where and, And then she's like, yes, that's exactly the same place where your cyst is. It's in the 11 o'clock corner and there's probably nothing to worry about. However, we are going to recommend that you get a diagnostic mammogram. And so I'm like, diagnostic mammogram, what? And so really all that is a mammogram with more slides. So I ended up making my appointment. I kind of went back and forth with whether or not I should because I already knew that they were benign cysts, right? I'm like, okay, that's what you told me 8 short months ago. So is that what we're dealing with? Maybe there's just a little bit of an infection. Maybe it's just grown a little bit. I wasn't quite sure why I was experiencing the pain and the growth, but I decided it's probably better to make the appointment. So ultimately I ended up going back. I got the same great tech once again, who was amazing with the mammogram. I asked her though, I said, do you see any changes? And at the time she said, well, it just looks like it's a little bit larger. We're just going to have to wait and see. We'll have to call the doctor from Denver. You may have to get an ultrasound again. Okay. So same protocol, ended up having to get an ultrasound, went in, laid in the chair. This time it was really nice. My husband was able to join me. He was able to sit there in real time with me. So that was really good and kind of be in the room. It's really nice, the presence of somebody being there. And so then I was able to watch it on the screen again. However, this radiologist was a little bit more quiet. Okay. I like chatty. The last one was chatting my ear off. This one was a little more reserved. She was super sweet, but very professional. She was taking her pictures and she was quiet. And so I was like, why is she so quiet? That kind of got me a little bit worried. I don't know if it would get you worried. It did me. But I'm just like, okay. And so then I pipe out and say, well, you know what? It's just these benign cysts. That's all we should be looking at here. And she said, did somebody tell you those were benign? And I was just like, yeah, they did at my last appointment. And so she finished up taking her pictures and she said, I'll be back in a little bit. I'm going to need you to stay in like this gown thing. And, in just in case we need more pictures, and we're going to send this off to Colorado and we're going to come back and let you know. So my husband and I sat there and we contemplated, it's probably just an infection, or maybe the cyst is just getting a little larger. Maybe they're going to end up having to drain it. Sometimes that's what they do to cysts. They get a little uncomfortable, get a little bit painful. So we felt like we were the doctors, right? We were already diagnosing me. And then she happened to come back in and she said, Helen, the doctors from Colorado would like to talk to you on the phone. And I thought to myself, well, wow, this is a little bit new because they didn't want to talk to me last time. And they said, is it okay if your husband is sitting here and if he's allowed to hear? Because a lot of the times husbands have questions. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And so I get on the phone with the doctor, and the doctor, I could tell by the tone of her voice right away that maybe something wasn't necessarily good. She was like, hello, Helen. I would like to talk to you about, your ultrasound. And so I could already tell there was a level of concern. And then she went on and proceeded to tell me that it was no longer looking to be benign, that there now is a growth, a mass of sort, and that the cells have come together within that cyst, and that's what's causing the growth. And that apparently there was blood flow going to it now. Now there's life within that cyst, whereas before it was obviously a fluid-filled cyst. It was more or less, it looked hollow on a screen. But now all of a sudden there's a mass within it, and there's obviously blood flow to that, which is feeding it, making it grow. And so she said, we're no longer dealing with a benign cyst, but now we are dealing with something else. And so she proceeded to tell me that this was going to be fast moving. And obviously with just at my last exam, there being nothing there to this short period of time, now there being definitely something there, that we definitely have a little bit of concern. Now, the size of it hadn't grown so much as far as length, except for the width and the thickness of it is what had changed. And so obviously with there being a mass in there, that's what's causing the pain inside my breast and the discomfort. And obviously now when I touch it, you can feel the rigidity. So you can actually feel the shape changing. And so she said that that's exactly what's happening and that we are going to need to proceed with more testing. And so my next set of tests will be next Tuesday. They have ordered a biopsy for me. So I am going to have to get a biopsy taken on this breast, and we'll have to see if it's precancerous, if it's cancerous. It could potentially be something else. Regardless, it's looking like I'll probably have to have some type of a surgery. However, I'm leaning on God. I've had many surgeries and he's got me through every single one of them, and I always come out better because of it. And so I'm just praying on that. And if you guys could pray for me, that would be amazing. So we're going to call this part 1 of this so that I can make another video after I've had the biopsy and maybe even potentially the surgery, so we can kind of see where I'm at and we can talk about that procedure as well. And so on a positive note, so grateful for good techs, good radiologists, good doctors looking at it. And everybody is just like speeding up the process right now just to keep me healthy and to make sure that we get this, whatever it is, right away. So we're definitely hoping that it's nothing, but it definitely was a benign cyst that now is something more. So that's definitely something you're going to want to follow up on if you're ever in this situation and you are stuck in a place where I was as well, where something starts to change in shape. And if you start to feel a little bit of pain, you're going to definitely want to do a follow-up with your doctor and get it looked at, because again, I thought it was a benign cyst and now we have something else that we're dealing with. So thanks for watching this video. I hope that it helped, and I look forward to making a video next week after I get my biopsy. God bless. Bye.